Uncle Bull, what's going on? Oh, buddy. It's about that time to get started. Ronald Jones, Uncle Bull, Rick's Barbecue and Specialties, Scott Martin, Everett Barbecues in the house, chicken fried, world class, world champion, chicken fried barbecue. What's up, brother? How you doing there, Bill? Glad to see you in the hanging out with the dog pound tonight. You've been out there spanking some butt, man, out there on the grind of the barbecue competition circuit, man. Absolutely love it. Let's see. Big Dip Smoke Shack, JG, Brisket Medic in the house. Zach, what's up, my brother? How you doing, bro? And as usual, the lovely Jean Marie will be moderating tonight. So any questions that you have, make sure you put at Jeanne, Jeanne. Click on her name, and she'll get those questions, and she will get those popped up onto the screen for me to see. So any questions you guys have, make sure you pop them in the chat. Tonight, we are going to be talking about what cooker is right for you. That's right, guys. What cooker is right for you? I get a lot of questions. You know, people are always asking me, hey man, what cooker should I look for, and this and that and the other. And not everybody's a stick burner. So you don't want to just go out and buy 1,000-gallon propane tank and then not really know what to do with it, right? So yeah, man. We're gonna talk about it tonight, and see what you guys think. There might be some great suggestions going on out there. Tiana Scott, how you doing? How you doing from Portland, Oregon? I appreciate you dropping in, hanging out with us on the stream tonight. George Martinez from the Bay, that is the Bay City, Texas. What's up, George? How you doing? All right. Terry Madwood Barbecue's in the house. So yeah, guys. So let's talk about this for a little bit. Let's talk about, like I said, I get hit up all the time with people asking about cookers, and so I figured, you know what, let's talk about it tonight. Let's talk about some things that you might want to think about when you get ready to make your next purchase. And so right off the bat, number one, I always say is, where's that location going to be? Where are you going to put that cooker at? Where is it going to go? In your back patio, or in your back porch, or wherever you might want to put it? You kind of want to look at that, see just how much space you have available for whatever type of cooker you want to get. Obviously, you don't want to get something that's oversized. It's kind of like buying some furniture for your house. You always kind of go to that furniture store with the measurements, go with your tape, and get out there and measure and see what's going to fit and what's not going to fit. Well, it's kind of the same principle when you're talking about a barbecue smoker, barbecue grill. You want to make sure you get something that's going to fit the space that you have in your mind as to where it's going to go. So I always tell people, make sure that you're looking out, checking out that location for where you're going to put that cooker. With that said, you also kind of want to look at the size of that cooker in relation to that space. Do you want a cooker that's going to completely fill that space? Or do you want a cooker that's going to fit in that space, but allow you to fit some other things around it, or what have you? What kind of things you might want to store around it. So maybe you have to go with a little bit smaller cooker, and then something that's going to be able to accommodate whatever, tools, accessories, or whatever that you might want to have on the scene. If you got a separate location for that, then obviously you don't have to worry about that, and you can cram up that space as much as you want to. So, again, it's just a couple of things to think about. Daddy Dutch, welcome to the stream. How you doing, Kent? My man, KC. Kenneth is in the house. What's new, barbecue? Glad to have you in here, brother. Another thing that you kind of want to check, you want to think about there when you're thinking about that next cooker is how many people on average are you going to be feeding? Do you want to get you a big 500-gallon, propane tank because you're going to have an event where you might have to feed, a few people, or is it going to be on average? Is it just the family? So you kind of want to, match up that cooker to what your needs are going to be. You probably don't want to jump out there and, get something that's way oversized for what you're going to be using on an everyday basis or weekly basis, depending on how frequent you can get out there and cook. Wild Bill's Backyard Barbecue. I see you. What's going on, brother? How you doing? You good? So I know my man Rick out there. Being Rick is Rick is new on the scene, working for Barbecue Outfitters, and I'm sure he's seen a whole lot of that stuff going on right now with people buying pits and cookers and having questions and all kinds of things. So definitely Rick might be a wealth of information, wealth of knowledge for us tonight. So, hey, jump on in, Rick, and tell us what you know, brother, what you know. All right, so next up, what I want to talk about is what style of cook are you? Obviously, you don't want to go buy a stick burner if you're not a stick burner, right? So you kind of want to know, you want to identify what kind of cooker are you? Are you a set it and forget it kind of person? Does that mean you want to jump onto a pellet smoker that you can just load up with some pellets and put some wood or put some meat on the grill and walk away? I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't really walk away from the pellet smoker like that because it is still fire, but it's close as to a set it and forget it as I think you could probably get. Or are you a little bit hands-on, a lot of bit hands-on? Do you want to do a Weber kettle loaded up with some charcoal, a pit barrel cooker loaded up with some charcoal, things of that nature? Do you want to do something like that? You got to kind of figure out what is your cooking style. How much do you want to be involved with that fire? How much do you want to play with it? Because all of that plays a big part into what style of cookie you end up with. So just something to think about, guys. Just something to think about. I saw a new name there a minute ago. Cooking Cop. What's going on, Josh? How you doing, brother? Always glad to see Josh jump on in the chat, hanging out with us tonight. Feels like a Monday, but I guess it's not Monday, is it? Is it Tuesday? Is it Wednesday? All these days seem to run together to me, man. I don't really know anymore. So, but man, what questions you guys got out there? Any questions in the chat yet there, Jean Marie? What you got? Gilbert Ramos says, hey, I'm new to smoking and enjoying it. My first smoker is a Charbroil electric smoker. I'm ready to take the next step. What would you suggest? Leaning towards a pellet smoker. Good idea there, Gilbert. It just really depends. Again, what kind of cooker are you? Are you more of a hands-on? You want to tinker and play around with some fire, play with some fire management? If so, maybe you're ready for an offset smoker. Maybe not. Maybe pellet smokers are going to be what you want because maybe you do want to load it up and not necessarily play with fire, and you want to take that whole equation of fire management out of the scene there. Barbecue is a lot about fire management. It's not so much about your seasonings and flavor profiles because those are always going to change, and it doesn't matter how good that flavor profile is. If you can't manage a fire, barbecue is probably not in the cards for you. So if you're wanting to eliminate that whole aspect of fire management, then absolutely a pellet smoker would be a good idea for you, and I think you'll have fun with them. I have fun with my pellet smokers. I'm actually a stick burner by heart, but the direction of the YouTube channel has taken me down the path of pellet smokers, and it's been all good. So they're a lot of fun to play with. So definitely, Gilbert, If you're looking for your next cooker and you want to be a little more hands off, a pellet smoker is a great option. Lots of great pellet smokers out there to check out. So just take your time, and we're going to get through this list of different things to think about as you get ready to make that purchase. So we'll get there. What's new, barbecue? Can I be in every kind of cooker kind of dude? Depending on the day and the atmosphere is how I figure which could. Absolutely, man. I tell you what. For those of you that follow me, you know I've got tons of different cookers back here, and depending on what mood I'm in, depends on what cooker I'm gonna what I'm gonna fire up. Once you get to that point where you can pretty much, handle all your different cookers, it's just it's a good deal to have a good variety of cookers, man. So along that path, you'll figure out what your cooking style is, and you'll make your purchases according, and you'll just have fun with it. So absolutely, I'm right there with you, Kenneth. Bottle Cap Barbecue, what's going on, brother? Welcome. How do you like the M Grill C4? I saw the one video, but curious if you gave it up, thinking about getting one. So the C4 is an awesome cooker. Travis and the guys over there put together. I've got a couple of C4s. I've got the C4 original. I've got the C4S. They now have the C4 SCA. Because that thing has really taken off in the Steak Cooking Association. A lot of those guys are rocking with the C4 because they are so portable. You can get in, get out with your one-day event cooks and not have a whole lot of stuff to lug around with cookers and whatnot. It's absolutely a fantastic cooker. I think you'll enjoy it. So if you're on the fence about getting one, man, I think you should probably go for it if that's what you're looking for. They do make some pretty awesome steaks and have the whole grill grates and all that going with it. So thumbs up on the C4 Bottle Cap. Go for it. Excuse me there, guys, as I sip on my coffee tonight. The cooking cop and babe. Can we talk about how good your audio and video is looking? Thank you, brother. Thank you. I'm trying to step up the game a little bit. We can't all be like our brother Ricer, but I try. I listen to some of the live streams I've done in the past, and it's like, ooh, that audio is bad. So we're trying to increase it just a little bit. So we'll get there. Brisket Medic. I initially bought my GMG because it can do so much at once. So for catering, it makes consistent temps and smoke much easier. I love my stick burners, though. Absolutely, man. Like I said earlier, in Brisket Medic, Kid, Josh, you guys y'all are all cookers. Y'all know, hey, Bobby Catton, how you doing? Man, the whole name of the game is fire management. And again, if you are not great at fire management, it's okay to admit that. It's okay to accept that. It's something you work on and get better at over time. And you know what? In the meantime, maybe go with a pellet smoker. And pellet smokers are, pretty forgiving. Now, you won't get the same exact flavor out of a pellet smoker as you get with a offset stick burner because, you just don't have the same, the level of combustion that you get with a stick burner. But you can make some really good barbecue off of off of a pellet smoker. So absolutely, it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it and just kind of helps get you kind of in that cruise control. So absolutely, Brisket Medic. I love the pellet smokers that I've got back here, and I have fun with them. So absolutely, cards and cues. What's going on, Mike? All right, Felipe Mata. Has anyone seen the video of the steak cake with mashed potatoes? Would love to see the Dawgfatha version. I have not seen that one, man. That sounds pretty interesting. Huh. A steak cake with mashed potatoes. Man, y'all know I'm not creative like that, man. I don't have that creative. I don't even like to bake, right? Y'all do know that. I have patience to cook smoke a brisket for 12 whatever hours, but man, you put me in the kitchen with some flour and eggs and sugar and milk and whatever, and I'm lost. I'm not a baker. Can't do it. Yeah, that's right. Jean Marie is over she's on the soundboard over in the other room there. So, gotta have my sound engineer, right? So, hey, it's all good. But, moving right along, you got to look at what are your options? What options are available to you? Whenever you're looking at getting another cooker, you've got your charcoal wood, mixture, your natural gas, propane, pellets, combos of propane and charcoal, live fire. I mean, there's so many different styles of cookers that you can get into with the different fuels. So you gotta kind of understand what is it that you're wanting to do. Are you gonna have the room, the capacity to hold a bunch of wood if you need to buy a cord of wood or whatever for said stick burner? If you've got a big enough stick burner to burn full splits, do you have the room for it? Is that what you want to do? Are you more of a, hey, I've got an outdoor, kitchen and I have natural gas coming into my house. Do I want to put a natural gas cooker back there? Maybe not. Maybe I can put one off the house somewhere, and maybe it's a propane tank because that's what I like to cook with is propane. You know what? So you kind of have to kind of keep that in mind. Or you know what? Maybe you versatile like that. You can play around with propane and charcoal. So you get one of those combo cookers where you can use both. It's just some of the things that you got to look at. But now, hot on the scene, we're talking about live fire, man. Live fire, people love to play with the fire. All of us guys that are in here that cook pretty often, we all love to play with the fire, right? We're not pyromaniacs or anything, but we love playing with the fire. What's going on, TNT? Great time hanging out with TNT Barbecue the other day on his live stream. I thank you very much, brother, for having me on there. That was a blast getting to hang out with you for a little bit and talk barbecue, man. What else, right? Because that's what we do. We have fun. We talk barbecue and we hang out and fellowship and all that, man. And man, that was an absolute blast hanging out with you the other morning. So, but live fire is now, getting bigger and bigger. And live fire, if you don't understand what I mean by live fire, guys, it's, when you're cooking that meat right there over that fire, whether it's on a Santa Maria grill, my man Ryan with his 3-in-1s and his multi tools, whether you've got spits that you're got a pig going over coals, or you're doing the Argentinian cross, or whatever it might be. Live fire cooking is an exciting way to cook. And if you ever get around people that know how to do it, those are the people that really know how to cook. I've always said it doesn't matter. People think, oh, you have to go buy these big, expensive, elaborate, smokers and whatever. And the fact of the matter is if you can get you a little raggedy grill that may have holes in it, it may not. It may just have air leaks in it or whatever, and you can control your fire in that and cook great product, you can do it on a expensive grill. Expensive grill is just going to make it that much easier. So don't think that it's got to be the cooker. It's all about the person that's running that cooker that's going to be making that food. So don't feel like you got to get out there and grab something all super expensive when you're coming fresh out the gate, guys. Take your time, get you something that you can work with, get to understand that grill and understand what it is you want in the grill from what you don't want with what you got in the grill you have. So that's how I kind of figured things out. Gene, if you got some questions, go ahead and pop one up and I'll start to get to them as well. Let's see. Wild Bill's Backyard Barbecue says, I want to build a Santa Maria grill. What are your thoughts on those? Santa Maria grills are a lot of fun. We just fired ours up here for the big game weekend, and we grilled ribs. Dash ain't in here, right? Dash in here? Dash says you can't grill ribs. Shh, we won't tell him, okay? You keep it between us, all right? But yeah, we grilled 6 racks of ribs on the Santa Maria grill. We did a couple of spatchcock chickens. We did some cowboy steaks. Man, it's just a great way to cook. It's a lot of fun cooking on a Santa Maria grill. So, hey, Wild Bill, if you're going to build a Santa Maria grill, go for it, man. Can't wait to see that one. I bet you that's going to turn out really nice. So definite thumbs up on the Santa Maria. My man, Zach says, I think that is most amazing part of Texas barbecue. So many ways, methods, woods, and pits give you so much variety and flavor. Absolutely. And it keeps it fresh for the actual cooker, the person doing the cook. It keeps you on your toes. Like Kenneth mentioned, you have that variety. It depends on the mood you're in, depends on what cooker you're going to grab that day, and keeps your skills sharp. Sometimes I know I can go out there and throw on the pellet smoker and use it for days on end at a time, and maybe fire up the PBC, which might be just about the same way as set it and forget it type thing, and then get back on my stick burner. It's like, oh wait, I gotta manage this a little bit more. So it definitely keeps you on your toes, man, working around all your different cookers and getting through different proteins and doing different things. So absolutely, absolutely. So what you got, Gene? No more questions right now? Nothing? Come on board.
Caught up right now.
Come on board up. All right. So as we said, you got to check out the options that are available to you, and understand once you've got those options narrowed down as to what it is that you want to do, what the fuel source is going to be. uh, you know um, then you can go on to the biggie that everybody wants to know, and that's your budget. And the budget, how much money do you want to spend? I'll tell you this: if you go in a place and they ask you that right off the top, turn around, walk away, because they're about to get in your pockets. They're about to get in your pockets. Yeah, you have to understand what your budget is going to be, because it is an important part of the decision making process. So you got to know how much you're going to want to spend on whatever that cooker is. Doesn't mean you have to go tell a salesman, if you're buying it at a place that's a big tier or whatever. Doesn't mean you have to go tell them how much you want to spend, because I guarantee you they probably will try to take advantage of you. But along with understanding how much it is you want to spend on that initial purchase, you kind of want to look at the continuous spending. What do I mean by continuous spending? Well, continuous spending means, what kind of fuel are you going to be using? When I do my offsets, I got to get me, a half quart of wood brought in at a time, because that's the rack that I have holds a half quart of wood. How often am I going to be buying a half quart of wood, and how much is it going to cost me? If you don't think about those types of things, you get that wood, you got it coming in, and now you don't have money set aside, and you got a cooker sitting there, and you don't have any wood for it. So you kind of have to keep that in mind. What kind of continuous spending? How often am I going to be buying wood for it? How often am I going to be buying charcoal? Pellets. Pellets aren't cheap. Guys that are looking at getting pellet smokers, especially if you get a pellet smoker that's not efficient. And not all pellet smokers are built the same. You have some that literally will go right through a bag of pellets like it's nothing. You can't even get through a brisket cook because it's chewed up all your pellets. So keep that stuff in mind, guys, because again, you don't want to have a cooker sitting there with no way to run it. So you want to make sure you are paying attention to that, as well as whatever cooker you get, what kind of accessories are out there for that cooker that you might want to get into. One of the cookers that I think pretty much all of us have is the Weber kettle. And those of us that know, we know the Weber kettle has tons of accessories, guys. And that's probably the best reason as to why we will never part with our Weber kettle. We can have the big, 1,000-gallon, Moberg or backline or whatever on a trailer, and it's the baddest pitch you've ever seen, but we're not getting rid of that Weber kettle. That Weber kettle is a lot of fun. You've got a lot of attachments, accessories, and whatnot to put on that system, on that cooker, and it's just fun to cook on a Weber kettle. It's kind of like going back to the basics. When you first start out, a lot of us started out on a Weber kettle or the grocery mart, special that you got where you cook on it so much the bottom falls out. But you know what? That's what brings us back to, hey, this is how we started. It's the roots. So Jules is in the house, and my brother Steven. How you doing, brother? Glad to see you in. Let's see. Have you found there's better pellet lump that can do burn time because it's clean up? So Zach, Here's the thing. Man, I am really partial to B&B. You know, I am affiliated with them. I'm an ambassador for B&B as well. And yeah, you know, I don't mean to sound like, oh, I'm just trying to pump B&B, but I've used B&B for years before I got associated with them, and I really, really love the B&B brand. I find that it does burn long, it does burn hot. I don't have a ton of leftover ash or whatever. In the pellet smokers, the pellets in the pellet cookers, it can be a little dusty. You know, not so much on the pellet hopper end, but and I think this is more of the cooker, you know, with the fan running and all of that, because you do get a little bit of that sawdust or leftover ash from the pellets burning in the pot, you know, with it collecting in different places or whatever. But man, for the most part, B&B is all I've ever used as far as pellets. I think I used one bag, maybe two bags of barbecue delight, but from what I understand, barbecue delight and B&B are pretty much the same thing. Haven't played around with any of the other pellets, so I can't really speak to those. The one that I had some Royal Oak, did not like it. Did not like it at all. You know, and it was some really cheap stuff. I know they make different tiers of Royal Oak, and so you have some better stuff. I think Bill uses probably a more premium Royal Oak. I do know the stuff I bought was some cheap stuff that I got, and sometimes you get what you pay for, and I got what I paid for in that case. It was some really bad Royal Oak. Um, Kingsford, I've used some Kingsford quite a bit here and there, and Kingsford's okay too. But B&B just really is a great brand and has been for me for years. So yeah, the lump for B&B is pretty good. I use the oak lump. I use the hickory lump. Those are the two. I have not tried the charlogs. I probably need to get some charlogs and try those out. I've heard those were pretty decent as well. So the B&B brand has absolutely worked really well for me, and I think for you guys out there that's looking for a source, B&B, if you can get it, is pretty good. So, have you thought about building your own offset smoker? Gordon Farmers Forge. So, Gordon, I'm actually having one built. That's not my game to build one. I'll leave it up to those pros. I'll cook on them all day. But no, I'm having a 250 trailer built with my buddy Ryan over at Backline Smokers, and hopefully we'll be getting it within the next month or so. We'll see. This is going to be my fourth trailer pit. Yeah, I think it's the fourth trailer pit. Gone through some trailer pits, man, but you know, hey, I have fun cooking on them. I had one that was a little different. I had one that was from a company I don't think they're around anymore called Diamond Plate Pits, and it was a Fat 50, and that pit was huge. And man, I made a lot of stuff on that, but it was one of those things where I had much more pit than what I was actually using at the time. And so ended up selling it and getting into another one. And you know how that is. You just kind of go down that road of getting different cookers. So no, I'm not gonna build it myself, but yes, I am having a custom built 250 on a trailer. So can't wait for that one to come in, because obviously I want to get back to doing some offset cooking. As I mentioned earlier today, the channel has taken me down the path of pellet smokers, and we're enjoying it. We're having a lot of fun with it. But I kind of want to get back to the offset cookers here, and I think what I'm going to do is wait till I get that offset from Backline before we start to get into a series of videos jumping back into offset cookers. And I'll take you guys from beginning to end on this one. You know, from the initial getting this pit to seasoning the pit and the whole nine. You know, we're just going to go through it. We're going to go through it. So Rick says the competition charlogs are great, man. I'm telling you, I've got to get some, man. I've got to get some. So we'll see. Diplo says, what's your favorite beer? Man. You know, I don't know if I can say it's my favorite beer. It's the one I drink the most is Dos Equis, you know, but you know, we drink it with the jug. So I try to I get more into I can't say I get more into it, but I think I do drink more bourbon, whiskeys, stuff like that. But a good dose of keys with some jug, or even when it's just hot outside and you just got that dose and it's dressed. Good stuff. Bottle Cap says my next big cooker is going to be an offset. I think I'm saving it for a big boy, maybe a pit maker sniper. Nice. I want to say that is the pit that my buddy JB had, and he raffled it off not too long ago. Nice pit makers are they're some pretty good pits. They are, like you said, they're the big boys. They're really expensive, but they're made very well, and don't think you will be upset with that purchase at all. So, Grumpy old Gringo's in the house. How you doing, brother? Welcome to the stream tonight, man. Always glad to see the Grumpy old Gringo in the house. Nice. I'm gonna sip on this coffee for a minute. Try to keep the whistle wet tonight. You know what I mean? So Southern Comfort. That's right, James Borstein. That's right, Southern Comfort. Could deal with some of that as well. So, but anyway, so budget. That's what we were talking about there on that part of it. Just know how much you want to spend, know how much you're going to have to continually spend to be able to continuously run this cooker, with the frequency that's going to be right for you, whether it be nightly, weekend, monthly, whatever it might be. So, God forbid you get addicted and have to cook on it a lot more frequently, right? But that's the fun of the game, right? We all enjoy that. So it's all good. So, but anyway, and the last up on the list that I'm going to say is, what is your upgrade potential? You want to keep that in mind too, because you know what? Hey, the pit you start off with is probably not going to be the pit you finish with. We've all said, okay, this is my last pit. Come on, guys out there, you testify with me. How many times have you said, oh, this is the one. This is going to be the one. This is my pit. This is it. A couple months down the road, here comes the next big pit. And you're like, ooh, that pit's looking kind of good. It'll look really good right here in the backyard. So maybe I'm not quite done yet. So you know what? Make sure you understand if the pit you're buying is your starter pit, if it's your starter pit again, don't get out there and go buy something that's so super expensive. And now you got to be paying for this thing for the next however long. And you're not really enjoying it because you're mad that all your money's going out the window. So take your time, get you something that you can work with. And again, compile that list, the list of things that you like about the cooker that you're cooking on and the things you don't. And take that list, put it to use for when you buy your next pit, and you get the next pit. And maybe it's got all the things that you liked in the last, previous pit and a few more things that you like or that you want in your next pit. And then you do it again, because you're going to find some stuff that, oh man, I thought I would like this, but no, I don't like that as much. And so you kind of put all of this stuff together. And the next thing you know, you've got it in your head as what's going to be a great, fantastic pit for you. And you make that into whatever ends up being your quote unquote wish list pit. So some people have it in their heads. They want a Moberg. They think that Moberg is going to be the one. And you know what? They finally get to that Moberg and it's got everything that they want. And now they can rest. So there you go. What do you suggest to move to from a kettle grill? Not enough time for an offset. Hey, if you cooking on a kettle grill and you're ready to move on to something else, again, are you cooking on that kettle for smoking? Are you cooking on that kettle? You're just grilling? If you're looking for something that, is just smoking, maybe a pit barrel cooker. Pit barrel cookers are pretty cool. A UDS. I'm not really much of a UDS guy, but a lot of these guys in here have won a lot of money cooking on UDSs. So, the UDSs can be a fun tool for you to use as well. I mean, there's just so many things out there. If you want to get into a pellet smoker is something fun that you can get into. So there's a lot of different options out there available to you. You just have to kind of figure out which way do you really want to go with it. So my man Rick says the thing with stick burners is although all different, they can turn out good food. You just have to know your smoker. That's absolutely right. That is the first and foremost thing is you have to understand the cooker you are cooking on. Learn that cooker inside and out. Know where the hot spots are. Know how long you got to tune these things in so that you understand exactly when you need to get your next split on to maintain your temperatures. If you're running a Weber kettle, you got to know how long you can get that burn out of however many pounds of charcoal you put in that thing. If you put it in the snake method, or if you put it in the slow and sear, or whatever system you're using, just understand. Don't just go out there and burn it, light it, and walk away. Kind of learn each time you go through. And one of the things that we were talking about the other day on TNT's stream, we were talking about this right here, the barbecue journal, guys. It's really just a way of being able to chronicle your cooks. You can put all your different information in here. What kind of protein you're cooking, what's the weight of the protein, what kind of wood you're using, what's the cooking time, what's the weather, what was your preparation, what was your marinade. I mean, all of these different things factor into your cooks. And so you want to kind of build a volume of a library of notes and understand, oh, you know what? This cook today, I freaking nailed it. What did I do? Well, I got it all written down as this is what I did and yada, yada, yada. And it came out perfect. Next week, I'm going to try and do this again because the name of the game of barbecue is consistency, right? So this helps you become consistent. But then let's say you get to the next week and you do every single thing the exact same way and the barbecue doesn't turn out the same. Note it. See what's going on. What were the things that were different? Maybe it was the ambient temperatures. Maybe it was windy that day. Maybe it was humidity. I mean, it's various things which makes the respect factor go up for these guys that own their own barbecue businesses and do it day in, day out on high volume and be consistent to the crowd that they're feeding. Like I said, anybody can cook one brisket, but can you cook 100 a day? Keep everybody happy, So consistency is what you gotta have to get to. Let's see. James says, I'd like to see you do some videos on quick cooks on a pellet grill, stuff for family dinner after work. Absolutely. So, James, thank you for bringing that up because absolutely that is in the works. I've got some more equipment that we're trying to get a hold of and get set up back here. I'm going to be doing some live stream cooking events. I'm already, as you guys probably already know, I'm affiliated with Grilla Grills, and I'm doing live stream cooking for them. I will be doing one. Shameless plug here. I will be doing one this Sunday in the freaking cold. But this Sunday, I'll be doing a live stream cook at 2:00 Central for Grilla Grills for Valentine's Day. So if you're free and the honey is going to let you get on YouTube, come check it out. Actually, it's going to be on Facebook. It's going to be on the Facebook page for Grilla Grills. But anyway, we are working on trying to get set up back here so that we can do some live stream cooks. For instance, as we're doing a live stream right now, once we're set up, maybe we won't do a live stream like this. We'll be back there on Barbecue Boulevard, Pellet Grill Plaza. We'll set up all the equipment and we'll talk and bounce around from cooker to cooker or whatever we're going to be doing that day and be, showing you exactly what we're doing and how we're doing it. So that's what we got in the works. So, James, thank you for that question. And it's coming, my man. Patience. We'll get there. We'll get there. Hard to settle down with a pit. Man, absolutely.
I had to add that. It was just funny.
A lot of us guys say that we call them our mistresses. We call them our mistresses because we spend a lot of time out there with those barbecue pits and doing the things that we're doing. But the wives love them. Jean loves it when I make all these different things and she gets to try this or try that, and the kids love it. And so, it all works out. It's all fun and dandy. So, hey, have fun with it, man. Have fun with it. So, anyway, what you got, Gene? Any other questions? I can't hear you if you're talking to me.
I think I've got them all so far.
Yeah, you got them all. Okay, okay. Well, it's all good. I think probably everybody can hear you now. I think you're in the chat. So, but hey, guys, so I pretty much got through the list. I wanted to kind of hammer through it. I didn't want to be on all super long tonight. I figured an hour would be a good one. So we got about a good 20 minutes, so we can kind of hang out and shoot the breeze. And like I said, if you guys got some questions, hey, fire them away and let's see if we can get them answered. So Edward says, "Do you think I could run a Lone Star offset cabinet smoker as a set it and forget it?" Mm. Mm. Barbecue guru. So here's the thing. Man, you can get close to that. I have the Lone Star offset cabinet. I do not have a barbecue guru on it. But I do know that those gurus are designed to make them as close as set it and forget it as possible. I think you will have minimal tinkering, but you will still have to do some playing around with it, Edward, here and there. Now, for instance, my Kamado cooker with a Ultra Q. I have an Ultra Q and a Flame Boss. And those things I can do. So, for instance, Saturday night, I fired up the Kamado. I want to say it was around 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. And I set that thing up for 225. And I came back out about 6 o'clock in the morning and it was sitting at 226. So turned it up to 275 at that point. And then I think we pulled pork shoulders. I think we pulled them off that Kamado. It was roughly 9 o'clock or so. So those things, yeah, you can absolutely make a Kamado into a set it and forget it. I've done it with a Weber kettle and put a party cue on a Weber kettle and ran that thing for, I don't know, damn near 12 hours without touching it, with just loading up in the slow and sear. So some of these cookers you can, kind of make them really close to set it and forget it. I do think with the Lone Star grills, burning wood splits, you're probably going to tinker with it a little bit. If you do develop a great charcoal bed, whether it's Lone Star grill or any grill, as long as you have a good solid charcoal bed, it's gonna give you some longevity there. So I think if you develop a good solid coal bed first, you might have some success doing that. So good luck with that. Let's see. Hollis, new name to me. Hollis, welcome to the stream. Hanging out with the Dog Pound tonight. Appreciate it. Love smoking on my kettle and sharing with my family and neighbors. My neighbors love it when they see me fire up the slow and sear for smoking, making people happy is the name of the game. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's always fun when you can make some great barbecue and get your neighbors involved or whatever. And they tell you how good it is. And, I've always said, my friends and family, they hang out with me, they eat, the food I make, and they tell me it's great and it's good and it's this and that and it's that. And I mean, while of course we love to hear those things, it's kind of hard to tell people their food is bad when you're eating free food. Sometimes, people that but when you give it to people that you don't know and they tell you it's good, and not out of obligation or anything, but because they can really, appreciate what you did, it absolutely makes you feel good. So you're absolutely right, man. You hit that on the head there, brother. What kind of meat would you suggest someone learning a new pit with, and why? Man, well, you know what, Zach, I'll tell you what, man. People often tell other people start off with chicken. Start off with chicken. Start off with chicken. Yeah. Sometimes they'll tell you start off with a pork shoulder. Pork shoulder is a good one because pork shoulder is pretty forgiving. So when you get a pork butt and slap it on for a long cook, if you overcook it, it's all good. It's just going to shred apart and chop up and make a great sandwich. Slap some vinegar sauce on it or some barbecue sauce on it or whatever, and you're good to go. So pork shoulder is a good one. A cook I did today that I'm actually in the process of editing, I did finally, I did poor man's brisket. The burn ends, which is a chuck roast. You get a good chuck roast put on. A chuck roast is pretty forgiving and is actually pretty good for practicing your brisket cooking. If you don't want to spend the money on a full packer, and you're not quite sure of your process, and you want to play around and learn flavor profiles or what have you, a good chuck roast is a pretty good way to start cutting your teeth in trying to make brisket. So, pork roast, I mean, a chuck roast and a Boston butt, man, I think are probably the ones that I would say, if you're talking an actual smoking. So that's what I would say, Zach. Conrad, how much do you trim a brisket for family? You know what? I'm we were talking about this in our stream the other day. I'm pretty aggressive on trimming brisket. And the reason why is because I know that I'm not wasting any of the trimmings. I'm using it for something else, whether I'm making beef tallow or hamburger meat, or we're gonna do sausage with it, or carne asada, or whatever the hell we're gonna do with it. We're gonna use the trimmings for something else, so it's not going away. So if you see me trim, which we will be doing a trimming video again here soon, if you see me trimming a ton of brisket away, it's not going in the trash. I promise you, and I don't advise you throw it in the trash either. But yeah, we do get pretty aggressive on the trimming, and it's more so because we're trying to make this brisket as aerodynamic as possible. If we're cooking multiple briskets, and even if you're watching people that own a business that's doing it, they're putting 30, 40, 50, 60 briskets on or whatever it might be. They're trimming these briskets to all be kind of uniform in shape so that they can narrow down that window of when they're all going to be completed. So you're trying to make it into a good, even cook. Besides, the last thing that you want to do is spend, 10 to 16 hours or whatever it might be, smoking brisket and putting your, blood, sweat, and tears into it. And then it comes off the pit, and then you got to cut it and scrape a whole bunch of stuff away, and it goes into a trash chute for the dog or something. So you want to trim it so that whatever comes off that pit mostly is being eaten and not being thrown away. So people tell you, oh, you've got to put a quarter inch of fat and this. Well, you know what? I don't really subscribe to that. What I say to you is trim off what you're not going to eat. If a quarter inch of fat is too much fat for you, go thinner if you need to. If it's not enough fat, you want more fat on it, okay, then don't trim as much fat. Just whatever you don't mind eating or serving to your guests, that's what I do. So that's how I trim the briskets, whether it's for family, customers, whatever. Paper wrap or foil wrap? Gordon Farmers Force. Depends on what. For me, again, beef, brisket, beef ribs, things of that nature, I will absolutely use paper because the paper is more permeable. It allows for you to maintain a solid bark. When I say solid bark, I mean it's got more texture to it. It's a little drier bark, a little crunchier bark, if that's the right wording for it. Versus when you put it in foil, foil will steam that brisket, steam those ribs, soften the bark. And I don't really want a soft bark, so to speak. Now, if I'm making beef cheeks for barbacoa, or if I'm making a chuck roast that I'm going to make for pulled beef, things of that nature, then yeah, I will use foil because it just breaks it down, and I know I'm shredding that meat apart anyway. So I'll use foil for that, but paper I use for my brisket and for my beef ribs, things that I want to have a good texture on the bark. Pork, I'll pretty much always use foil. I think the only time that I don't use foil, I'll actually use paper on spare ribs or baby back ribs is when I do salt and pepper crust ribs, and that's when I just put literally nothing on it but salt and pepper. And I want that crunchy, firm exterior on that rib. So I like that salt crust sometimes. So yeah, that's how I do. Um, Agree. Will it dry it out? Conrad, I'm assuming you're talking about when we were talking about trimming the brisket. And no, especially when you, I don't know if you guys seen some of these videos out here that people are trimming brisket and they actually trim all of the fat off of the point, and then they might leave a little bit on the flat. So the point has enough fat within the meat that it's not going to dry out on you. You know, if you're doing a careful cook, as you normally would, it's not going to dry out on you too much. The point, I mean, the flat. Maybe I said that backwards. I'm getting confused here. The point has a lot of fat in it. The flat is a little bit more lean, and so if you do trim all of the fat off of the lean, you could get to where it dries out on you and get crumbly, which you really don't want. Which is why you kind of get one that has a good amount of fat in it, and maybe you might have to do some injections and things of that nature. I don't really ever have to, um, but yeah, and the best way I can tell you is just when you're cooking that process, don't cook to a number. Cook to your tenderness. I can't sit here and tell you enough that what all briskets are different. They are not all going to be done at 200 degrees. Some maybe I've had a few be done at 198. It's very rare, but I've had a few be completely done at 198, and most of my briskets might be somewhere in that 204 to 209, 210 range. And I've had some go as high as 216. So I always do it by feel, poke it with a probe, see how it feels. It's going to feel like butter in the point. It needs to feel pretty close to butter in the flat. Then you can kind of check the temperature after that just as a reference, but don't say, oh, it's 205. I have to pull it now. Okay. Conrad says, do you let brisket cool down any before putting it in a cooler to rest? So here's the thing. Absolutely, you want to rest your brisket outside of a cooler or a food warmer, proofer, whatever you're using. If you take a brisket off of the pit and it's at 207, 208, whatever that temperature is, and you take it and put it directly into a cooler wrapped in towels, as you're seeing whoever on YouTube tell you to do that, you will absolutely destroy that brisket. It will turn to mush on you. And it's going to be because you're basically insulating a brisket at a 208-degree temperature, and it doesn't have time to rest. It's going to continue cooking in that cooler. Even if you pull a brisket or a steak or whatever off of your grill and you set it on a plate and it's just got tinted foil over it, think about it. It's going to still carry over and rise, right? So if it carry overs and it rises a few degrees, what's going to happen to that brisket that you're pulling off of the pit at 208 that you're insulating? It's already insulated because it's wrapped in foil or butcher paper. And now you're wrapping it in a towel. And now you're putting it in a cooler. So how many levels of insulation you got there? So how many more degrees is that brisket going to rise before it finally hits that curve to start coming back down? And how long is it going to take for that to happen? So absolutely, man. Give you an idea, when I pull briskets off of my pit, they're wrapped in butcher paper. I pull them off. I put them on my steel tray. They're sitting on a speed rack and they're just cooling. I get them down to, now I'm paying attention to the internal temperature, and I get it down to about 155 degrees or so. Once it gets down to 150, then it goes into my food warmer. I set my food warmer at 145 degrees, and I can hold those briskets for a good 24 hours, before we're going to do anything with them if I had to. So if you don't have a food warmer, put it in your oven. Set that oven at 150, 160 degrees. After it's cooled down, pop them in your oven. Just remember, guys, that you have that danger zone is between 40 and 140. You want that brisket to be below 40, or you want it to be above 140. If it's cooked and you're going to have it later, that's absolutely fine. You finish 5, 6, 7, 8 hours earlier than what you want, for dinner. Cool. Let it rest down to about 150. Pop it in your oven. Leave that oven on 150, 155. You're good to go. But absolutely let it cool down before you do anything with it as far as trying to retain it. What's the best way to make bacon? Gordon, man, I tell you what, I've got a video on the channel. If you go to my channel and put in the search window there for bacon, you can see that video. I use a baking cure that I actually have purchased. You can actually use your own. You can make your own cure with, or your own cure with just salt and the pink cure. But no, I have a rub or a cure that I actually purchase and bring in, and I rub the pork belly on it, slap it in a Ziploc bag, goes in my refrigerator for 7 to 10 days while it cures and does its thing. Pull it out, soak it for 30 minutes. I'll soak it probably 2 or 3 times just to pull that excess salt out. Dry it off, pop it on the grill, smoke it up slow to 150. And remember that the lower you smoke that brisket, the more smoke flavor you're going to get. Or brisket, the lower you smoke that bacon, the more smoke flavor you get into it. But you want to get that bacon up to 150 degrees. Once it gets to 150 degrees, pull it off, let it rest, pop it in your refrigerator, wrap it in, some saran wrap or another Ziploc bag or whatever. Let it chill, and then it's ready to go. And I tell you, once you start making your own bacon, you ain't buying it from the store anymore. Unless you just got to get some really, really thin slices and you don't have a slicer, you want to make some ABTs or whatever. But you get a slicer and that whole situation is solved for you. You make your own bacon, you won't need the grocery store stuff anymore. Conrad, if you are ready to eat brisket, counter rest to 160 in lieu of cooler. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, you don't need a cooler, man. Seriously. I don't even know where that started with people telling everybody, put it in the cooler, put it in the cooler. No, you don't do that. If you take it off the pit and slap it in the cooler, again, you're not giving that brisket enough time to rest, to cool down. Now remember, think about it with steak, okay? You apply the heat to steak, it does what? Pushes the juices outwards, right? When you pull that steak off, they tell you let it rest for 10 minutes or whatever, because a steak is a small cut in relation to you had a 12, 13 pound brisket, now you've cooked it and it's shrunk down to maybe, I don't know, 7, 8 pounds, but it's 7, 8 pounds versus 10 ounces, right? So a steak may only take you 10 minutes to rest and it's good to go, but a brisket needs time. Sometimes I've had briskets because I leave them wrapped in my paper and I've had them resting for a good hour, hour and a half before they get down to 165, 160 degrees. It just really depends, ambient temperatures and this and the other. But no, I pull them out. I've got them wrapped in paper, put them on a steel tray, put them on the counter. If you don't use speed racks or whatever, put it on the counter or whatever and let it rest, and check your temperatures. And once it gets down to 160, 55 or whatever, it's ready to go. If you're not ready to eat at that point, cool, pop it in your oven, set your oven to 150, 155 degrees or whatever, and just let it rest. Just keep it above 140 degrees and you'll be good to go. West Coast Cajun cuisine, my man Blevin. What's going, man? Guys, if y'all want to see a dude that can really cook some good Cajun food, West Coast Cajun cuisine is your man. I'm telling you. He says, I just made some bacon. There's nothing like homemade bacon. Absolutely, man. And you can cut it as thick as you want. The other day, the big game day weekend or whatever, we made some smoked bacon mac and cheese. And we actually took this bacon and we diced it, rendered some of that fat off, pulled that bacon out, then made the roux with that bacon fat. I mean, Blevin, I know you know how it goes, man. Stuff is really good, really good. So, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. Brisket Medic. He says that cooler resting is a comp thing. Absolutely. Cooler resting is a comp thing. The longer a fully cooked brisket hangs out at the 158, 160 area, better it tenderizes without falling apart and retains juice. Absolutely. And I'm not a competition cook, guys. Competition cooks or competition cooking and backyard cooking are two completely different things. These guys that are actual, competition cooks, they've got it down to a science. So absolutely. Gordon, the bacon we get here has so much water that comes out of it. Yeah, that can happen. So absolutely, man. I'll tell you what, if you go, like I said, Gordon, go to my channel, get on that search window. for my videos and just put in bacon, and it'll pop up homemade bacon. And in the description box of that video, I believe I have the link to the cure that I actually purchased, as well as a recipe if you decide you want to make your own cure and try to make your own bacon. So give it a shot, man. I think you'll like it. Is that it, Gene? We're all done?
That's what we have for now.
What? Look at that. That works so much better having my board op in the other room monitoring everything that's going on so I don't get so far behind in the chat. And we made it through all this material in 60 minutes. That was pretty damn good. Brisket Vedic says, better believe I can rest my brisket in the fridge overnight and rewarm it in the vacuum. Man, hey, you know what? So here's the thing. Whenever I do briskets and I do the mass amount of briskets and sell briskets and this and that and the other, and I have stuff that's left over, I'll do that. Pop them in a vacuum sealed bag, because people ask all the time, what is the best way to reheat brisket? So I put it in a if I don't have to do it in a vacuum sealed bag, if it's just going to be the next day or what have you, I might just put it in a Ziploc. But I'll put it in a vacuum sealed bag, and I'll put them in the freezer. Freeze them. Pull them out, next week, next month, 2 months, 3 months down the road, whatever it might be. Pull it out. Pop that bad boy in the oven and set the oven on like 200 degrees and just let it go for hours, just to let it rise really slow and get that temperature up to 150, 160 degrees. Pop it out of that vacuum sealed bag, and it's just like it came out of the pit. And that's no lie. So absolutely. That's right. Bobby Cadden. See, that's why I married her. One of us has got to look good on camera doing this, and the other one's got to be smart. So, that's just the way it goes. I'm smart enough to understand it. I just let her do all the whatever. She knows how to handle that stuff. So absolutely. So Blevin says, I have a brisket video coming out soon, and there may be a mention of the Dawgfatha in there somewhere. Absolutely. Hey, man, I'd be completely honored to make an appearance, whether it's by name or whatever, in a West Coast Cajun cuisine video, man. Absolutely, Brevin. Can't wait to watch that, man. I know you're going to do some phenomenal things with that, brother. So that's right, Rick. Cheers, brother. I got cold coffee now, but it's all good. The funny thing, guys, is I've got my, I don't know if I can see this. I got my little warmer here for my coffee, right? And I just mentioned to Bobby Cadden that Gene is the brains of the operation, right? How about I got my coffee sitting on my coffee warmer and didn't even turn it on? Come on, man. So anyway, guys, hey, it was fun hanging out with all of y'all tonight, talking about cookers and different things. Again, this Sunday, 2:00 p.m. Central, I will be on the Grilla Grills Facebook page doing a live cook, and I believe we're going to be doing a surf and turf. So come on through, come hang out with the Dawgfatha and Federico as we take over the Grilla Grills page and do our thing on the Silverback Alpha. I'm going to be trying to do some more live streams here and try to start getting them as regularly as I possibly can and get them scheduled out. So you guys make sure you're subscribed, got the notification bells on for the channel if you so choose to do so. Make sure you check out the memberships for the channel, as I will be doing some behind the scenes things for the guys that are all the channel members and support the Dawgfatha's barbecue. And hey, Jean Marie, you want to pop on and say anything?
Just have a good night, guys, and we'll see you this weekend.
All righty. You heard it straight from the brains of the operation right here at the Dawgfatha's Barbecue YouTube channel, guys. Until the next time. Peace.